Warning, not for children. So we're going to continue with part 3 of Celebrian. Where did we leave off? Oh yes, the moles and the chickens. Her hand reached the mass of tangled thick hair at the root of the shaft. Her hand continued down the shaft into the air, slid into the hair, slid to the underside, to the scrotum. The skin of the scrotum was rough and warm. Something heavy pulled the sack down. Her hand followed it down an inch, down 6 inches? Good Lord, until she finally found the great stones that stretched the sack so much. She gasped at the feel of the king's balls. Once again, they are Nerf balls. May Celebrian elf who touches the great king's great stones hold them in her hands? She asked with a smile. The king grunted assent again. She reached both hands to the great stones, fondled both, and cupped each with a hand. They filled her hands with their hairy, hot mass. The feel of the king's sex, the heft of them compared to the puny mass of her husband's, sent a warmth through her. She closed her eyes and purred in pleasure, rocking slightly as she held the king's treasure. She grew closer to the great stones. As she did so, her cheek brushed the king's chicken. The smooth head brushed her smooth cheek. Once again, a misspelling for those cheeks. She opened her eyes again and stared along the great shaft of the king's manhood. She saw the glands' smooth swell and its cliff fall to the wart-covered shaft. She wondered how she could ever contain such an expanse of flesh in her flesh, but she knew that she would soon try. She wondered what the warts would feel like as her lips, upper and nether, passed over them. Would they give extra pleasure? This would she soon know, she thought with a smile. She dropped one of the king's balls, you better pick that up, and used both hands to caress the other one. One hand was not enough. Celebrian, who is awed by the king's warty cock, may she fondle the king's ball? Just the one ball, that's it. Yes, bitch, the king managed. Hold it, and feel the power that no elf-man can possess. I have the power, he continued, regaining a little composure, but still tense with eager anticipation. She continued her caresses, rubbing her hands over the mass. It must weigh a pound, maybe 2. She thought with pleasure. What great volumes must come from it. She left her cheek, yea, a spelling correction, resting against the king's chicken, felt alternately the glands and bumpy shaft rub back and forth as her head and body rocked back and forth with her caresses. The king's body jerked on the hold on his balls and the elf flesh on his cock. Celebrian smiled at the thought that she could please such a brute. Can't the king's ball holder lick his cock? She asked. Yes, Celebrian, said the king, reaching out a clawed hand to cup the back of her head. She pulled her head back so that she stared directly at the pulsing chicken. She let the great ball drop gently, better pick that up, and griped the shaft. For a moment she gazed at the massive chicken an inch from the tip of her nose. The massive chicken held like a spear in her own hands, aimed at her mouth. Slowly, so as to savor the moment, she extended her tongue and caught another drop hanging from the tip. She drew the drop into her mouth, then extended again. Beginning in the hole at the tip, she darted her tongue in, then licked in a spiral from the tip to the lip of the glands in a slow, wide, languid pass. The chicken jerked with pleasure when she rounded the full rim of the bulb, but she held it steady in her two-handed grip. She ran her tongue down the underside where the gland's lip came together, then back towards the tip where her tongue darted in the hole, almost fucking the king in reverse. That's a disturbing thought. With her tongue firmly pinning the tip of the cock, she stroked her hands up and down the shaft from glans to root. She felt the bump of the warts under her hand, the pulse and roll in the veins of the shaft. Where are the moles? The moles disappeared. It was good. The king felt himself beginning to lose control. She was good, almost perfect, but it was too soon. He had to be in control. "Kill," started the king, but his voice cracked. He licked his fleshy lips and tried again. "Celebrian, do you wish to take my chicken into your mouth?" Poor little chicken. She pulled her tongue away and looked up to the owner of the magnificent chicken. Her hands gripped the shaft just below the bulb. "Yes, king." "Why should I trust my chicken to you? Have you ever tasted chicken before, let alone such a fine rod as this?" "No," she said, a tear welled in her eye. "Address me properly, cunt. No, king with the dick I beg to lick." She nodded, ashamed and appalled that she had displeased the king and might not taste the great shaft. "Beg to take my cock. Convince me of your ardor, and I may let you try, pathetic though your attempt may be." "Oh, thank you, great king with balls of fire, whose king whose great rod my mouth yearns for." "Go on, silver bitch. You may not yet stuff your mouth with my wondrous rod. Please, my lord with rod of steel, please let me pleasure you with my humble mouth. I am not worthy for it the least favor from the tip of your chicken. Each drop I worship, though it is degraded in my untrained mouth. I beg to learn the true art of pleasure on your great shaft. I shall caress it tenderly with my tongue, working my lips over each bump and twist of your shaft, embrace it fully in my gorge." "Perhaps I shall let you try," said the king. Celebrian opened her mouth wide and bobbed her head at the cock. The king pulled her up short by the hair on her head. The breath from her gaping mouth warmed the bulb of his dick. "Bad elf bitch, bad cunt with tiny breasts and little mouth. I have not given you permission yet. For this transgression you must beg for forgiveness by naming yourself further. Then we will see." Celebrian stared down her nose at the glance. She pulled her head against the grip, straining to take it into her mouth, but the king would not yield. Name herself? "Chicken sucker?" she said tentatively, straining still. "Who?" "Me, Celebrian. I am a cocksucker." "Continue." "Chicken sucker, doorknob licker, semen drinker," she said, gaining speed. "I am a whore, a bitch who begs to the least—" "What?" "I am a whore, a bitch who begs the least drop from a cock without parallel. I want to taste the root of your shaft. I want to fill my mouth with your bulb. I am cock worshipper, ball holder, sucker of my king's salty gifts. I wish to drink every drop in your cock, feel your great seed fill my mouth, spill down my face, and onto my unworthy boobs. Oh, this is painful. I am the cock whore, the ball queen, the seed drinker. The world is my lord. The orc king's great rod. It fills my sight, may it fill my body." Okay, I'm gonna stop there for right now, because I can't hold it together for any much longer. Oh dear.